Live from the Hangtime Hangar, sit back, relax, and prepare to get down with the Hangtime Podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome out to the Hangtime Podcast, episode 13, a.k.a. 69. Celebrate it.
Yeah.
It's
It's a sex thing.
it's impressive.
It's a, well, anyway.
But it's been a long week. We're recording this after doing Mario Sports League, which you can check out over on Hangtime Raw. That's our Raw gameplay YouTube channel. Most of it's like special streams or our favorite broadcasts. We've been doing this Mario Sports League thing, and this week on the channel on twitch.tv/hangtime, we're doing Star Wars Week, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, but make sure and go over to Hangtime Raw on the YouTube channel down in the description below. Besides that, make sure and give this episode a like and a comment if you're watching on YouTube, and hello to all of our audio listeners out there in the Megasphere. I hope you're doing really, really well.
Yeah, welcome. I hope you guys have had a good week. I have had a grueling week with Mario Sports Week.
I don't want to hear it.
I genuinely think talking about that is really interesting as a content creator and a business, because you suck at a lot of video games.
Unless it's first-person shooters.
Yeah.
Then he's very good at them.
I mean, it's not unfair to say that. It's like, listen, I only played one thing growing up. So.
Yeah.
I only played
RuneScape.
one thing. Yeah, RuneScape.
That's it.
And
It's
RuneScape,
RuneScape.
and then I shot things, yeah.
If you could play RuneScape, why can't you play golf? You know?
Yeah,
It's the same
that
thing.
totally makes
It's just
sense.
click
yeah.
to click. Go
Right,
to point,
because
click,
with
point,
RuneScape,
click.
you use the joystick, you use the
You
A
use
button.
a 5 wedge, and you get in there.
Just go to town. We were talking about this yesterday, and we were talking about how like there's like a channel culture built up where like when people expect us playing Mario Party on the channel, they just expect that like you should know everything about it, right? And like there was a couple of things you did that were, to our audience and to us, it was like, man, that's like really inconsiderate gameplay.
Man, you are really dumb.
Which
Yeah,
with
you're
our
really
audience,
stupid.
it kind of doesn't make any sense because I came into Mario Party without knowing it either for an entire season.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, Petah's going through the same thing I went through whenever I did Mario
They probably
Party.
thought it was like a hiring requirement that you
Yeah.
understand the basics of Mario Party and its mini games.
Yeah, which
I mean, obviously, this is all a jest, but yeah, I mean, it's
it's
understandable.
semi-jest, but it's like, I don't know. I was, because you were getting your ass kicked a lot. I mean, we just evened the score today. So
We
it's-
didn't even. He's ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got ahead for the first time in 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally.
But that's great. But it was like, man, not everybody like is a 33-year-old dude who played Nintendo
Yeah.
all their lives that now work here.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
like
weird.
it's different. It's like, and as a live host, you have to like not get mad at the audience. Obviously.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like it's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair. I'm bad at it,
I mean, not by the standings, which
Yeah,
is
I mean,
cool.
Technically, by standings, you're better than me.
only because you got royally screwed.
Today, like, we haven't finished up Mario Sports Week. I know
No,
this
yeah,
was last, or
yeah.
we're filming it. You'll be seeing it from last week. I don't know who wins, but I'm saying as it stands right now, we just got off of probably the hardest day that I was going to have during Mario Sports Week. It was Mario Kart, golf, and baseball.
Yeah.
Mario Kart being
3
the-
that I'm not good at.
Yeah, the one Mario Kart being the one game where it's like, okay, I have experience with this one. This one
Yeah.
is my most played Nintendo game.
Yeah.
So all the maps I knew, so it wasn't like, and I'm bad at driving games, right? But obviously I wasn't terrible at Mario Kart.
You did decent,
I
yeah.
won a few games. So,
Yeah. And so the Mario Sports League is like it's 12 games and Olympic games, but it's like Mario Baseball, Mario Soccer, Mario Kart, Mario Party, Fortune Street,
Which is the greatest.
yeah, which
It's
is awesome.
such
Like,
a
Fortune
good
Street
game.
is God tier. Probably my favorite game we
Such
played
a
all week.
good game. If
Yeah.
you don't know what it is, or if you didn't watch it, it's Monopoly, but with Mario, and it's so much better. So much better.
It's like Monopoly without the it's just really efficient.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm in jail and all this bullshit. It's nothing but the hostile takeover part of Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's like if the last hour and a half of Monopoly was the entire game, where it's like, give me your property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's cool
Yeah.
because, like, you can either barter with them and be like, oh, I have enough money, I'll just buy it outright. I don't
Yeah,
care.
you
I
can
got
just
so much money
buy
to
it.
spend.
Do you realize how much of a power move that is? Also, it completely changes the pace of the game because literally the entire first like 70-80% of Monopoly is just, all right, wait until just like roll of the dice, chance that everyone lands on a property,
Yeah.
right? But in this one, it's like, nah, mine, nerd.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's so sick.
Yeah, but we've had a lot of fun with the league, and that's how the standings are working. If we do good in a game, it adds to the whole week, right? But Star Wars week is coming up next week, and the timing could not be better because of Obi-Wan coming out, right? Like that's gonna be super hot. We'll talk about Obi-Wan in a second, but Star Wars week is gonna be Petah versus these Star Wars games that Grace and I have picked out, and it's like there's going to be some special stuff in there. We've got some special alert donations, and it's going to be – we've never done a week of programming kind of like how we're going to do Star Wars.
We've done something. I guess the only thing that's been close to that was Clown Week.
Yeah, we did like Clown Week and Wrestling Week.
But this is a whole new experience because we're really catering it towards you.
And Star Wars, right?
And I messed up as well because I showed that I had some when we were watching the Obi-Wan trailer, I got into like a 40-minute conversation with chat on Star Wars, and Sean was like, "Oh man, you nerd! You just
we're not pulling
bad.
any punches." And I remember whenever I was talking to Sean because we have a quiz thing in it.
Yeah.
I told Sean, I was like, "I'm not pulling punches with you because I knew your knowledge of it." So
I'm a big nerd when it comes to Star Wars. I think everybody is a nerd for something.
Oh yeah, of course.
For me, it's Star Wars.
Like you with Star Wars is me with horror movies.
I love Star Wars, man.
But Star Wars week, usually it's you will play a game and it's like, oh man, it would be great if we can finish it today, right? Yeah. Or we want to get it done in the 7 hours. So what Grace and I basically did was we took a collection of games, and we've got those games take a certain number of hours to beat each, right? Like Force Unleashed takes 4 hours, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer takes this much, right? And so we've basically taken the hours and we've said, what is our daily goal each day in time? And the goal is going to be for you to beat like this roulette wheel that's going to keep on going of this collection of Star Wars games while we're hitting you with like trivia. And special handicaps and stuff like that. So
I will tell you, while Sean and I have made this, we have been giggling and been excited because not only is it going to be funny for us, it's going to be fun for you.
Okay. Well, okay.
There's games in it that you're going to get to, and you're going to be like, oh man, I didn't realize how cool this game was.
Yeah, I don't know if you played them or not, which is fine. If you played it, that's great. If not,
I probably haven't played like most of them.
What Star Wars games have you played?
Knights of the Old Republic, obviously.
It's probably the GOAT.
Yeah, the Star Wars Battlefront games, like, of course. I think there were, like, some of the Lego ones.
You played the Jedi Knight games, right?
No, not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest one that is, like, fuzzy on my memory, I don't remember it much, but I remember it being really good, and I also remember thinking, why did it just spoil the whole movie, was the Revenge of the Sith one. Do you remember
such
that?
a great game.
It's such
Did you play the game before the movie?
Yeah. And then I went to the movie and I was like, it doesn't matter. I was a kid. I was like, oh, it's so cool. You know?
Oh yeah.
The opening scene, the Revenge of the Sith, gotta be up there in like the top opening scenes to a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, they kill Dooku.
They killed Dooku. They
hardcore too.
Space fight, one
they
of the
had
better
the
space
insane
battles.
like space
yeah.
war.
Don't they roll into like the Harrier at the very beginning?
They crash.
Yeah, they crash in and they roll in.
And they
Yeah,
jump
and
out.
then they jump out of the.
It's awesome.
It's so sick.
Yeah. But next this week on twitch.tv/hangtime, we got Star Wars Week going on. We're probably live right now if you're watching this episode. So come say that you came in from the podcast if you're not a regular Twitch watcher. But that Obi-Wan trailer, we did a reaction to it. We had goosebumps like crazy.
For about 2 minutes, I think is how long the trailer is. I did not stop having goosebumps, and that has not happened since I watched the trailer to episode 7. I still watch that trailer today and still get goosebumps over
it's just
7. It's the music.
It's the single high keystroke.
That bing, bing. Yeah.
When as
soon as it hits, and then it goes the.
Yep.
Oh my God! And it goes into it.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool because it starts off and Rey like slides in on the rope. Like you see the rope drop and then you see her come sliding in. I'm like,
I remember the Rogue One trailer did some really interesting stuff in music where they mixed the Jedi theme and the Sith theme at the same time.
Yeah.
I can't remember how
I need to watch that.
it
trailer.
sounded.
It's just, I think one of my biggest complaints, one of my only complaints really about The Mandalorian is that it didn't use a lot of the original scores and stuff. And there's just a couple moments where if they just added a little bit
think
of
just
John
to give it a
Williams.
Taste, right? But I think that like a lot of times these movies they want to have, especially in Star Wars. I mean, it's like what is the Darth Maul fight song?
Duel of Fates.
Duel of Fates, like
Duel of Fates.
Duel of Fates is I would never associate I would never associate that with
Okay,
Obi-Wan,
that's-
right?
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
That's fair.
especially Ewan McGregor's
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, right?
That's fair.
But Duel
and-
of Fates, you do.
Yeah, Duel of
Well,
Fates. I do.
actually, the Force theme.
It's the Force theme in Episode 1. I have not seen Episode 1 in probably about 8 years.
Yeah, but-
so it's been a while since I watched it. Is it in it?
The Force theme is
It's used in regards to like Anakin.
Does
I've
it
got
play
a-
with Anakin?
I've got a feeling about him, Obi-Wan.
Oh, so
Oh,
Qui-Gon says it, and then they do it. Yeah.
And maybe when Qui-Gon's talking to his mom, he's got Jedi reflexes.
I don't even remember that scene.
I
Like-
want to say I think it was definitely in A New Hope, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the first time they used it in A New Hope was a conversation between Ben Kenobi and Luke. So I associate strongly with Obi-Wan Kenobi just because I think it was when he told him about his dad and he says like, and this is what the Force is, a power that binds us, penetrates us, it permeates to all living beings. It's literally called the Force theme. So they
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
it. They didn't realize how iconic it would be, but they played it when he was giving the whole explanation of what it is in the first movie. Yeah.
But man, when we were watching that trailer and the Duel of Fates hit, it was just so intense.
Man, I got to tell you, it's kind of wild. Like, whenever Sean and I were growing up, I remember going and seeing Phantom Menace, and I loved it. I was a kid. of
Loved
course.
it, yeah.
Absolutely loved
It's
it.
a double-sided
But
lightsaber, man.
I do remember
Yeah.
whenever we were leaving the theater, I remember people were mad at that
Why?
movie because they didn't like the way it was going. Like, I remember the specific theater that I was in whenever we were leaving, there was people in the theater booing it.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, I will
No
never
way.
forget that. There was
There's
people
no
booing it
way.
because they did not enjoy it.
When did they
Why
boo?
wouldn't they
They
enjoy
booed
it?
whenever the movie was over. They wanted more from it. I guess, I don't know, I was 10, but I remember going to leave, people were booing it. And then I remember as the years went on, people talking trash about the Phantom Menace.
Of course.
And then the original episodes were
How?
just like whenever I was growing up, the the 1, 2, and 3
Yeah.
were like they were not seen as
I mean, they
like the
weren't
better
yeah,
set. They
for
were seen
sure.
as horrible
Yeah,
movies.
for sure, for
whenever
sure.
I was growing up, and
Especially
4,
2.
5, and 6 were like the greatest of all time. And
Yeah.
I didn't fully realize that until I started working at the video store because we had
Hastings.
no, I worked at Game Exchange.
Oh, hey, okay.
But
gotcha.
we had loads of episode 1, 2, and 3. But 4, 5, and 6 would always sell almost
Yeah.
immediately.
Oh, okay.
And I think so. Whenever 4, 5, and 6 were re-released,
Which
Yeah.
was
You-
an
you-
awesome
you-
experience.
Yeah. I
I
remember
saw
that.
all of them in
Yeah.
theaters.
yeah. So like me and Grayson got to see those movies in theaters as kids, right?
Which is,
Lucky
no lie,
motherfucker.
it was
Yeah.
so cool because they did it right before episode 1 came out.
Yeah.
And then I remember they had the Doritos bags that you could get. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I remember it vividly because I bought 3 bags of nacho cheese Doritos with
Yeah.
my allowance.
Yeah.
Because it came with holographic cards. And I
Okay.
wish I still had them.
And-
But on the bag, it had R2.
Oh,
And
It's
what
so
was
sick.
awesome about that is
Yeah.
like we were that was a time when we were like cool extra scenes, cool.
Yeah.
They
CGI
added
added,
CGI
yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
Java
It had-
walks now.
Yeah, it had not. It
yeah,
had not. At that point, it had not gotten bad.
Yeah.
It was good CGI. Like whenever they're approaching, there's that really weird shot of the X-wing fleet approaching the Death Star, with like the red planet in the background. It looks like dog shit.
Yeah, it looks
right?
terrible. Yeah.
But then I was like, oh my god. I mean, I was like 8, but I was like, oh.
Well, that was the Leo moment as a kid. You're like, that wasn't on my VHS.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
new.
I
That's
don't have.
new.
I don't have that at home.
Yeah.
There are a couple times like I think the only time the CGI really throws off anything for me as far as the edits to the original trilogy is the celebration ones on Endor at the end of like when they blow up the Death Star and they show the
yeah.
parades on Naboo and Coruscant.
Oh, that is bad.
I'm like, all right. You not only did you not show or mention these places in this movie, you did not do it in the previous movies either. Like,
What's up?
Didn't they change
Oh, it
the
hurts
ending
him.
of Return as well, to where it's Hayden Christensen there
Yeah.
now?
They got
I-
Hayden Christensen
Yeah.
in there.
I didn't hate that.
I didn't
I don't
hate it,
mind it.
yeah.
It's just I remember whenever I first saw it, it took me off guard. I didn't know it was coming, so I'm just sitting there waiting to see. I don't even know who the actor is.
Yeah,
that played
the
Vader.
original actor.
But I'm just sitting there and I was like,
Hayden, yeah,
There he
Hayden
is.
Christensen's
Anakin?
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's always
It makes
Anakin.
it makes
but
sense.
I'm like,
yeah.
our Anakin?
Yeah, I like our Anakin.
I
Oh,
remember in theaters when Han and Chewie first go into light speed, and like it's in the cockpit. They've got the frame,
Yeah.
and the stars just turn into lines. I remember being in theaters, being like, "Oh my god, that is the most insane thing ever!" Because as a kid, it's like your interpretation is like so heightened, and
Yeah.
I just remember.
It was an impactful moment.
Yeah, it was just seeing how, because it felt like you were inside the cockpit. It was like
Yeah.
Han and Chewie were like right here, right?
Yeah,
Instead
yeah.
of watching it in a, and it was in widescreen,
Yep.
right?
So you get to see more of the screen, which
Yeah.
is a big deal. Like back then, it was full screen or widescreen, and like
if you didn't have the right VHS
yeah,
box,
you didn't
right?
know. Like you had no idea. But to capitalize on what
love
you're
Star
talking
Wars.
about, in Empire, when they're inside of the worm, I remember whenever it first like moves, and you hear that ooh, like the seats rumbled, and I remember being actually scared. I knew it was coming. I knew they were gonna
Yeah,
get out,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
remember being afraid because I'd never heard it like that before.
I love Star Wars so much. I love the prequels. I recognize that the writing is terrible. Even from when I was younger, I was like, this doesn't make sense.
What would you say? What would you say? The dialogue is terrible.
Yeah.
Not the structure. The
Some of the-
midichlorians piss people off.
I don't care about that.
I
Personally.
think that's fine. Like, does it really change?
I think it
it's
was
so
like-
minute
I
to
think
me,
it-
like I don't even remember it.
I think it was like Michael Myers, right? Or because it was like Grayson hates the new Rob Zombie Halloween because it tells why Michael's evil.
Yeah.
And
that makes
like-
sense now. That I think
And
about
like
it.
in Phantom Menace, she goes, "Yeah, there wasn't a daddy. I got pregnant from the Force and had a baby," and like people hated.
You need to
That-
add a little bit
that
more
is
to
a
the explanation. Yeah.
And then it's like, what's a Jedi? And Qui-Gon's like, well, you have a lot of midichlorians in your bloodstream. That's typically a trait of a Jedi. And people were that's like worse than Hayden Christensen's dialogue. That's my most hated
Wait.
part. Not the midichlorians, but when Qui-Gon goes, who was his father? And she says, there was no father.
I've never picked up on
Very
that.
strong Jesus parables.
She says there was no father. I carried. I gave birth. It's just something that happened.
So she's like the Virgin Mary.
Yes.
Yeah. There's
I
extreme,
never keyed in on that.
hardcore Jesus parable.
Like it's almost like I've wiped it from my brain.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that.
And,
in fact, I was just about to ask who was Anakin's father.
Yeah.
Like, I have
There
no
was no
idea
father.
remember.
It was
like I don't
no
remember any
father.
of that.
Raw force energy impregnated his mother. And like for me that's in the same vein as like adding CG and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like that is and a lot of Zack Snyder films. That's just something that George Lucas threw in because he thought it was
Well, if
important, right? It's like whereas his father was a mysterious drifter. What a great question. That is something we could be asking right now. If it was like
but like
that's
if,
the plot of Rey.
yeah, I was about to say it works for Rey. Like that's what makes Rey's character so cool. I mean,
but what if Rey's mom
You're
popped up?
Palpatine.
I don't think I would care.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like with Rey, whenever they said you were a nobody, I was like, yes,
Thank
I
God.
don't care who her dad
I
is.
don't care what anyone says. The Last Jedi, the scene where the kid is just casually like Jediing at the end.
My God, I
got fucking goosebumps.
I just got
off that.
goosebumps thinking about that.
I got
Yeah.
goosebumps. Anybody who says like that was stupid is like, come on, man. I had a little kid in the theater. I could hear him audibly be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that the magic? Isn't that the whole point of Star Wars?
Can I tell you what my pitch for Rise of Skywalker? What I hoped it was going to be.
Go for it.
Okay, at the end of Last Jedi,
Yep.
no hope.
Right. No hope.
Awesome.
Empire.
The only hope is new generation of Jedi are coming with that
Right.
little kid.
Right.
My hope was that in Rise of Skywalker or whatever it was going to be called, when I left Last Jedi, I was like, I hope that I hope the next sequel takes place 20 years later. I hope, or
would've been
5 or
pretty
10 years
sick.
later, and I hope that Rey is a Master Jedi,
Like Luke?
like Luke. And I hope if they're gonna parrot it, right? But I left Last Jedi not knowing that the world was gonna hate it.
I left it.
I hated it.
I hated that
Yeah.
movie.
I hated
I
it.
still hate that movie.
I have worked really hard. I didn't.
Do you hate it, or do you hate the casino scene?
I can tell you what my new hatred is for it
What?
after watching it recently. I hate what they do to Finn.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
I think that as soon as they drop Finn from 1,
Mm-hmm.
like what they do to his character in 2, I'm like, okay, that fucking sucks. You just
Yeah.
completely ruin a badass character. And
Yeah.
after that, I completely check out.
too much.
Yeah, I
and
mean-
I think the issue is Poe takes the spot, right? And I mean, they drop the shit, but like Poe kind of overrides
I mean,
a lot
kind of.
of opportunity.
John
But
Boyega said
even-
himself that they ruined his character.
Yeah,
mean, they
no,
did.
No, I'm
Like,
not saying they didn't.
100%.
I'm just saying. I'm just
100%.
thinking like writing wise, like the decisions, like immediately him being a coward is like what? And was it him that was going to be a coward? He was trying to
He
leave.
wasn't really being a coward. He was just he's so desperate to save his friend that
He was going to leave.
he was like, these people are dead. I cannot save them. She can't save them.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to protect her.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so when I left Last Jedi, I was like, great, we're gonna get a new Star Wars movie. It's not like that movie's so different than the formula of
Oh,
Force
yeah.
Awakens,
Oh,
right? Not to a fault, of course. But I left thinking, man, that'd be so sick if. Because they have to go rebuild. Because at the end of Last Jedi, it's like, cool. There's 6 people left.
Yeah.
There's literally no rebellion.
There's no. I misunderstood. I actually don't hate The Last Jedi. When I first watched it, I was like, but the more and more I thought about it, and the more and more I watched it, I actually the only issue I had with the entirety of Last Jedi, right? I don't hate the casino scene. Like I don't hate it at all. Actually, I think you have similar set pieces. Like Naboo was beautiful.
Yeah.
You had so many similar set
I think
pieces.
it's
in the
I think it's
prequels.
important that for once they talk about how the empire is funded. Like for the first time ever, they say, "Hey, the
yeah.
oligarchs pay for it. It's evil in the universe." It's
Yeah,
not-
yeah, they do that in the TV shows as well. They talk all the time about how basically, like in the prequels, like the Republic and
I wouldn't know that
yeah, I mean they
because
talk.
I don't
about-
watch
they-
the shows.
You
So
see,
it was
like,
all fresh for me.
there's like they, and it was nice to see them bring it into into like the big screen because it's like, yeah, these are war profiteers, man.
Yeah.
1000%. These are all corrupt people.
Yeah.
Playing both sides.
Sorry. Anyway, so again, like I was really hoping that they would stay consistent in making making Kylo like the ultimate, like
Yeah.
carry on
Yeah.
and not turn him good like
Yeah.
they did the fucking chicken shits.
I hated being right about that. I will have you know. In
I
all of
knew
our
it, yeah.
arguments, whenever I said it was going to happen, I hated when you and I were sitting in the theaters and it actually happened.
Yeah, but you know what happened?
We still had a great time.
Whenever it did happen, we were
still-
like, when he drops that lightsaber behind his, because I was like,
man,
because Gray was like, they're gonna puss out and they're gonna
yeah.
make him a good guy.
They're gonna make
Right,
him a guy,
yeah.
and I'm like, no, they're not. Like, there's no way they would sacrifice Han Solo, and then waste that sacrifice on turning him good, right? Because like they kill Han Solo to establish that Kylo can do what Vader cannot, and that's compromise goodness.
Family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and compromise. Like Kylo will compromise, and that was always the argument. No, Vader will not kill his own son. Kylo will kill his own father. He is the Alpha Vader, no doubt about it. He will, and after Last Jedi, it was even more hardcore, because it's like not only will he compromise his father, he'll also compromise his master. Kylo is the greatest villain of all time, worse than Vader.
I'm talking like our debates about
Yeah,
it.
I will side with Gray. I knew from the moment I saw him that
Yep.
he was a trembling, unsure, undisciplined, and undriven
Yes.
child. That I knew that it wasn't going to happen.
Yes, but and this is where it always went with me and Grayson. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, but who was also a trembling little bitch?
Anakin Skywalker.
And Luke Skywalker.
And Luke
right?
All the Skywalkers so
Yeah.
far.
That's true.
And so it was like, cool. At the end of Last Jedi, when nobody's left, I was just like, you know what's going to be sick? Rey's coming back as a 40-year-old or a 38-year-old Master Jedi. Kylo Ren is coming in, Palpatine and Vader in one.
That would
Like
be
all
pretty
that
cool.
concentrated hate, father killing hate, master killing hate. Rey would not take him as a lover, hate, channeled channeled with Sith Master because he's been training over the 20-year
20-year period.
or the 10,
that'd be
5,
And Adam
10.
Driver could do that.
Adam
he
Driver
could do that.
Adam
in a
Driver
minute.
can act everybody out, like outside of maybe obviously Carrie Fisher and like Mark Hamill. Yeah.
And Rey would have basically her own Jedi Academy, and she would have learned from Luke's mistake in the Last Jedi.
Mine's pretty close to Sean's. Only mine would be, it would pretty much be, Kylo's coming in. He's ultimate evil, like unlike anything we've ever seen, like you said.
Yeah.
Sure.
Then you get to the end, and like at the very end, it's Kylo, it's Finn, and it's Chewie, and they're all together. And at the end, or not Kylo, Rey is there too. Okay. So it's Rey, Kylo, Finn, and Chewie.
In place of Han, Leia, Luke.
So you have them all there. Kylo's just stomping them, and they're giving everything they've got. And Chewie's mad.
Right.
So it comes down to a point to where they're fighting, Chewie. And Chewie sees that Kylo's going in for a kill shot on Rey. And because now that Rey and Chewie are so close together, Chewie knows that the only thing that he can do is do a self-sacrifice. So he tackles into into Kylo.
Yeah.
They go down, and then Kylo, it's his last, you see the
Grayson's
last
got
bit of humanity.
specific script
The
moments,
last bit of human that he has in him.
Yeah.
Because you see Chewie's on him, and Wookiees are strong. I know the
Wookiees are
Force is
terrifying.
strong. So a Wookiee's on top of him,
Wookiees
and
on
he
top of
knows
him.
that if he doesn't do something,
it's
die. Over.
Yeah.
So you see him hesitate for a second, and then you hear the lightsaber kick on it. It goes through Chewie. You see Finn. You see Rey. They
you
both
like this,
see
Grayson?
It. They cannot believe it.
Chewie's
they
dead.
See it. Chewie has just died, but they know that he sacrificed himself to save them.
Yeah.
They get out of there. The movie ends. Chewie's gone. Han's gone. They are royally screwed right now because they are rocked. Like Kylo has everything taken over. There's a fleet that's been destroyed. Everything is in shambles. All you have hope in is that somehow they can come together in the end. And it ends with them blasting off and Kylo just looking as they leave.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the movie.
And,
that's what I want.
And the worst part is that Luke was gone.
Yeah.
And that's why I hoped so much for them to follow through. Because now you can't, besides Leia, right? You can't rely on anybody to learn your Jedi training except for yourself.
I'm so weird. I would have saved Luke to the last movie. I would have saved him to the very last part. Because honestly, everybody from the original, I wanted gone. Yeah. I wanted them all gone because you have to get rid of those characters. Because you need to be able... It's just like in wrestling. You can't keep bringing legends back over and over and over again. You got to get them out of there and build up these new characters so you have a new set to continue on with new stories.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to constantly keep bringing them back and back and back.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought.
You want to hear what I thought about the new trip?
I mean, we already did ours.
I would say the working as with Snoke or Palpatine or whatever, right? And the only problem that happened there was the fact that the script and the directors got jumped too much. That's okay. Yeah. That's nothing you can do about it, right? I think I liked the fact that Kylo was going to have a redemption arc similar to Vader because, and I thought that was right. I thought that was good. I think that the only thing that I hated, I can even kind of get behind the way they portrayed Luke a little bit because
You don't like the way they portrayed Luke?
I don't love the fact that he's
Yoda 2.0.
He's not though.
I mean, the way he acts whenever you first see Yoda, he's pretty much it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like a bum.
Yeah, he
Right,
is.
yeah.
Like
right.
whenever you first see Yoda in Empire, he's almost identical to what Luke
Right,
is.
like, I mean, he's lost, but Luke, in the way that he is presented in Return of the Jedi, right, is how you benchmark every other Jedi afterwards.
Yeah.
He's the peaceful, serene, calm, collected, and capable. You know, like that's who he is. He's defined what Jedi is.
Yeah.
So
you think what's cool is if you think about like Jedi and especially Revenge of the Sith, I always think about the assertion of like Mace Windu just going, "Hey, Palpatine, you're evil. You're coming with me, or you'll die." Right?
Man, it's so dope.
I know, and it's just like, and just see that. But Mark Hamill plays it with such like oh, he's so perfect. You know, how do you smile without smiling? Because that's what Luke Skywalker does when he when he talks shit. Like,
whenever he pulls the ultimate shit talking at the end.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. The way where I got behind the whole portrayal of Luke in The Last Jedi was he did it exactly as a Jedi should, and that's like more so than because the prequel Jedi actually have a lot of problems. Mace Windu and his all of that right is actually a huge flaw of what the prequel Jedi Order was like, because
they're SWAT teams.
They're SWAT teams.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be peacekeepers. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be pacifists.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be generals. They're not meant to be soldiers. They're not meant to be aggressive. They're not meant to have so much.
Well, maybe they were.
But man, General Kenobi's pretty sick.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, so out of curiosity,
Go ahead.
as somebody that's like more educated on the extended universe and stuff, my
Yeah.
nipples are hard. Here we go.
Hell yeah, dude.
Star Wars.
We're talking Star Wars,
Star
baby.
Wars.
Get
We're
hard.
on Star Wars.
But like, what is the what's up with that? Like, if they are peacekeeper, like, do we think that they're supposed to be like that because we grew up like?
No, this is a point that they put in the movies and in the shows is that the Jedi lose their way, and because of the wars happening, right?
They became more than peacekeepers and were asserted as generals. Is that kind of what happened?
That's basically that's a huge running point actually. And one of the characters that they put in the Clone Wars, she leaves the Order, and she kind of recognizes the fact that they're very hypocritical, because it comes down to they have to protect the Galactic Senate and their interests more so than they have to protect the interests of the galaxy as a whole. Which is why I liked Hamill's portrayal in The Last Jedi, because in the end he beats Kylo as a complete pacifist. He doesn't attack him.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything terrible.
He
to him.
doesn't even project aggression.
Nothing.
He just stands there.
It's,
Nothing. He
like-
sacrifices himself in order for others to live.
Yeah.
He's a true peacekeeper.
He does. So my interpretation is that would take such an extreme amount of force exertion that he would die.
Projecting himself across the galaxy, like light years away, I would
Yeah.
assume that's the
Okay.
Yeah.
So does it throw you off whenever he's standing over Kylo and he has that moment where he's thinking he's going to kill Kylo?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it threw me off.
Yeah, it threw me off.
Like watching that scene, I'm like, no.
There's a couple things that I wrestle with, but as a whole, I still appreciate and enjoy the movie. The one thing I cannot get behind is like Rise of Skywalker. Now,
Before you get into that, can we talk about Luke for a second?
Sure, yeah.
I think as a writer,
Yeah.
there is a strong reason
Yeah.
that in the script Luke says, for a fleeting, tiny, itty bitty microsecond, I thought about killing him.
Yeah.
And
then he was left with shame
then he was left with shame for the rest of his life, right?
for the rest of his life.
And I think that like if the writer or if Rian Johnson, who I think wrote that, right, the whole thing,
I'm pretty sure he wrote and directed it.
if he didn't know Luke's character, he would have just said, I was gonna kill him, right?
Yeah.
But like I think Rian Johnson probably approached that from a place that humanizes Luke a little too much, because Rian Johnson is probably considering trauma,
Yeah.
understanding what Vader did to the galaxy. Vader
Yeah.
blew up planets,
Yeah.
You know?
He genocided people.
Yeah, like
Genocided people.
like nothing.
Yeah.
And
Like a normal Tuesday at the office.
and like Luke, and I don't think people consider this just because they're like, Luke's perfect, like he wouldn't do anything or that. And Rian Johnson is the kind of guy. I mean, we've seen Knives Out. This guy considers character more than anything in the world.
Oh, I agree. Like, I
Right?
completely agree. I honestly feel like Rian Johnson was just put in a bad situation. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he set up a story that he thought was going to get continued on, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I think that the only thing I would have changed about his last interaction with Kylo is just more sadness, regret, and just like pleading for forgiveness.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's the kind of situation where like if he wants to try to make that why Luke exiled himself, like you got to start the movie with the Jedi Academy that he's running, with Luke witnessing Kylo like kind of beating the shit out of kids a little bit too much.
You gotta establish,
Maybe in that opening a couple of nightmares about Vader.
It is weird they never do that. ever.
I don't
just to point, because the only thing that he could, because as a writer you have to defend your choices, right? And the only thing Rian Johnson could defend Luke trying to kill Kylo with is, no, look, I put in the script it was only for a second that he thought about killing him, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. But if Rian Johnson had like, no, look, I put this huge portion of the film behind Luke realizing that.
I probably would have believed it more.
Exactly, right?
Instead of having to pay as close attention to what you said. Like, I see that. All dialogue is going.
It's still
I
tough
don't
for
care.
me.
Because
Yeah.
I'm still watching. I was like, no.
It's still tough for me. It's tough for me that he tells Rey that she has to defeat Kylo.
Uh-huh.
This is the guy who Yoda and Obi-Wan both told them that he has to face Vader, and Vader's the ultimate evil. He's genocided people. He's slaughtered, and we've seen a fucking whole prequel about basically who Vader was and like how we got there, and yet Luke, who lost his hand to the guy, right, cannot help himself but have compassion and have a belief that he can.
Yeah.
And then you're telling me he can feel that way for his dad, who's that's
but not his nephew,
but not
who's
his
a kid,
nephew,
who's a kid.
who's a child compared to him.
Yeah.
He's in his progressed age. He has understanding and wisdom beyond where he was probably in Return of the Jedi, but he doesn't have the compassion or just the human emotion to be able to feel for his nephew. That doesn't work with me. If he was trying to plead with Kylo towards the end of the film, or
even in the flashback,
or in
plead
the
with him.
flashback,
And then Kylo freaks out.
Well, at that
yeah,
time,
it's just something.
well, Luke already knows about the dark side at that time as well, so he knows how tricky that can be. So he could be able to talk to
tempted.
Kylo about that
Yeah.
many a times.
He's been tempted.
God, there's people. Jedi's my favorite Star Wars, and what?
Oh,
Empire's mine.
Empire.
Why Jedi is my favorite Star Wars is because of one. It's not even the whole movie, but there's one scene that pushes it that pushes it above, even though it's not the best one. Empire is the best Star Wars movie, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I love Rogue One actually.
Rogue One's fantastic. That's number
fucking
2
love
for me.
it.
We're not counting this stupid shit. We're not counting this shit. But there's a tracking shot of Luke and Vader at the final fight.
Yeah.
They're under some stairs, and it's a wide shot,
I know what you're
and all
talking
you
about.
see is the silhouettes going.
Yeah.
And
I used to have a shirt with that on it.
and I think the Sith, Luke is pushing him.
Yeah.
Luke
Battering him.
yeah. Or not quite that part, but it's when the momentum turns.
Oh, he gets angry.
And
Was when he brings up his sister.
Vader is walking backwards.
Oh yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like Luke's beating the shit on him, but Vader's retreating for
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah.
And if I'm remembering this wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that they play the Sith theme. Or it's like this really sad.
I know what you're talking
It's like
about.
It's
a
a
really
somber
sad,
somber theme.
swelling
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's not heroic.
No.
It is not heroic at all.
Yeah.
And it's his best cinematography of all time. It's the green light pushing the red light.
Yeah.
And it's not happy. It's not heroic. It's nothing but sadness. And the insight and thoughtfulness to say, hey, John, score this really sad. Don't score it with the Force theme or something like that.
Yeah,
Score it
yeah.
with some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Luke gets in and he starts bashing, and then it's scary, right?
Yeah.
And Luke's turning red and sweaty and exacerbated, and you haven't even seen Luke look like that before.
Yeah.
And then that's of course when he gives does Palpatine interrupt him? Oh no, Palpatine's yeah, fuck
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kill
he's
him.
go to
Yeah.
come to us.
yeah. But that one tracking shot is what makes Jedi the best Star Wars movie for me. But I push it over.
As I get older, I get more and more respect for certain Star Wars movies. Return, I ended up, because I remember whenever we were talking and you told me how much you liked Return, I ended up watching it again. Because as a kid, that was my least favorite, which is really weird because it should have been my favorite. I liked 1 more than I liked Return.
As a kid, you should like Return the most.
You should, because
Because
it has everything you want. It has
Ewoks,
the awesome set pieces.
speeder chase.
It's awesome.
Dude, come on, man. The sand boats on Escape from Jabba Hut, fighting the Rancor, like, oh my god.
Return is pretty fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
like,
pretty
and whenever you
nuts.
get older, you recognize more and more of what's going on. Like seeing Luke finally try to take down his father, and then realizing like he was going to the dark side, stuff like that. It's a
And
really
that
good
elevator
movie.
ride too.
It's all really good. Like it's filmed very, very well. And like as
Yeah.
a kid, I was like, man, I wanted more Luke. He's in it a lot.
He's
I'm
in
like,
a lot.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
in a
How
lot.
sick it would have been if Luke tried to hug Vader. Doesn't Luke try to? Luke pleads, right? He pleads for a second.
He pleads for a second, and then
It's just no
he
use.
just
Yeah.
he just says it's like it's too late. And it was so good because this is the first time you hear Vader's voice drop in a way because you hear him say, you hear James Earl Jones say in a very, very soft, very uncharacteristic Vader voice, "It's too late for me, son."
Oh God.
I wish I could have been in a theater when the movie first released just to see everybody's reaction to that last.
Could you imagine going
15
from the
minutes.
movies from 77 to like 83
I can only imagine
when
what that was
when
like.
Jedi came out, dude?
Well, at the end of Empire, like
Well, yeah,
that
at the
first
end-
drop, you're just like,
Yeah, the grandfather of all all
No.
movie secrets ever, right?
Yeah.
Is that that Vader is Luke's father? Like, holy
I would
shit!
if somebody said, "Hey,
Yeah.
we have video footage and crowd reaction of people at the premiere,"
I'd watch it all day long.
I would spend a lot of money.
I would pay like $2 or $3 grand.
Yeah.
I would be like, I will save up. I don't give a shit.
I need
Like,
to see this.
Yeah.
yeah, I need to see it. Yeah,
What a cathartic thing that would be
Yeah.
just to hear it.
yeah.
like,
I got goosebumps thinking about that.
my oldest brother, Jason, he's a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was a kid whenever Empire came out, and whenever he was in the theater, he could hear people like gasp, like people were like, no way. Like everybody in the theater, like he said he could hear people. And I remember him telling me that story, and I saw him get excited just thinking about it, and like thinking about his
I'm gonna
memory.
call my dad and ask him.
It-
what it
he
was
said it was one of the most amazing experiences he's had
Yeah.
in theaters. He could not because nobody saw that coming. How could
Nobody.
you?
Not just like
Most of the
not
cast
just-
didn't know.
Yeah.
Not
Most
just
of the cast.
not just
Which
like
is awesome.
not just like a 30-year-old dude, but
Yeah.
imagine being like 12.
12.
Yeah.
No. Like,
Are you
no!
serious? This guy?
No.
He's
it puts
human?
into a whole perspective, right? Because you take a because let's be honest. New Hope, goody two shoes, good guys win, bad guys lose.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're like slap you
Yeah.
with Empire, right? And then they have the same subtleties of good and evil and the complex nature of characters, right? In 6, it's incredible. That's part of why that's why I like 5 more than 6, even though 6 and 5 are so close on
Yeah.
the spectrum for me. I know a lot of people, it's like they say 5 is the best, and there's kind of the stigma that 5 is the best, so you should say 5 is the best.
Yeah.
It's hard. For me, and you guys know this from when I
Yeah.
said it before, I love human stories. I hate characters who are all goody. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking hate Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Jon Snow is. Listen, I love him. I love Kit Harington's a super hot guy. Would still sleep with him, of course, and of course I would absolutely bang Jon Snow. But Jon Snow is like, like characters like him. It makes it hard to sometimes like fully appreciate for me the complex of the characters.
Yeah.
You know.
I think again, I always since I went to college for writing and shit, I'm always trying
Yeah.
to think like, why the fuck would they do that?
Yeah.
Why is Jon Snow the way he is?
Yeah.
And like, I think like watching Game of Thrones, I thought the same thing, and I would be like, well, like this. I gotta be honest. The show needs a perfect person in
It
it.
does.
At least fucking
With
It
all
does.
the hardcore stuff that
All
happens in
the
it,
terrible
somebody
people.
needs to
yeah.
be
Yeah.
in it.
Even
Yeah.
Arya, it's like Arya's fucking a psychopath.
Arya's
Especially-
Arya's
I mean,
a
awesome.
sociopath.
Awesome. Like, Arya's a
serial
sociopath.
killer.
You got the Hound running around.
Yeah, the Hound's fucking crazy.
The only two like quote unquote good people.
Betty of Tarth. She's a
Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
Brienne of Tarth.
Tyrion?
Betty of Tarth.
Brienne. It's funny because I like what they did with Brienne because Brienne is like the only true model knight in the
Yeah.
entirety of the show.
Yeah.
She's exactly what you expect a knight to be. You know?
And
awesome.
gasp, she's a woman.
And that was my favorite part is that she's the one.
Yeah.
She's a woman.
She beats the shit out of the
Yeah.
mountain. Oh man,
Oh
let's
my
go with
God.
that.
That's a great.
I love
scene.
that.
But back to
Yeah,
Star Wars.
sorry.
Back to Star Wars.
I mean,
I
No,
digress.
I took us off on that tangent.
Poor Phasma.
Yeah. That's why there's a moment in Rogue One that I adore, which is because we've seen the movies and it's like the rebels are the good guys. They're the
Yeah.
guys with the weird ass, helmet
you're
things
going.
on New Hope and all that.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a moment where Cassian is surrounded by, just talking to, I think her name is Jyn Erso, right?
I've only seen it once in
For
theaters.
the main character.
The main character.
I think it's something close
Yeah.
to that.
And he's surrounded by a bunch of other rebels, right? And when he says the line, "We've all done terrible things in the name of the rebellion," right? You kind of take that one line makes you look closer at the rest of the guys standing behind them, and you realize they're gruff. They're probably guerrilla fighters.
Uh-huh.
They're all like
Absolutely,
filthy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're all filthy. They're
Yeah.
not pristine. They're not heroic. They're not Luke and Han receiving a medal
Yeah.
at a ceremony, right? I love when movies do that because it's like there's no good guys in this.
Yeah.
Well, hell, the opening of that is him just killing that guy.
Yeah.
It's just
There's
him
no-
just killing a dude.
There's no good. It adds so much complex themes to it because it's like this is fucked up, And
I
their
think-
sacrifices mean something.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about what a 50-year-old franchise can do for detail.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, when I think George Lucas, whenever he made Star Wars in '77 and Empire, he was like, that's what he thought he was doing, right? Obviously, with the production and better cameras
Yeah.
and more like a more hard, like obviously that director's interpretation was like, I'm gonna make it real hardcore, how scruffy the rebels are, right?
Yeah.
But if you look back at the old production, it's like, I think how they refer to the Millennium Falcon as like a hunk of junk, right?
Yeah.
And
Hunk
like,
of junk. Yep.
I think Han Solo, like, his attitude is very rebellious, right? But at the time, it's like wardrobe and stuff. They might not have the considerateness of scrounging people up.
yeah.
Obviously, like the cast is a bunch of white dudes that are shaved. Like, in the rebellion is like Lando's like the only person of color in the entire galaxy, right?
Yeah.
And of
then
course,
it was
like
Mace for a while. It was Sam Jag. Yeah.
yeah, and then but Lando's like he's fucking big pimping, dude. He got the
Yeah.
toughest robes.
God,
Yeah.
Lando's so
He's like a
sick.
sellout Han Solo.
He's also a really good actor.
incredible.
Billy D. Williams?
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
There's some
actually.
complexity to the betrayal as well, right? I mean, you feel
Yeah, and then his whole negotiations with Vader and everything, and like it was really well done.
I
It was
never
well
really
done.
saw him as like the villain. I just saw him as a guy that's like, either I do this or Cloud City's
it's
gone.
obligation more
Yeah,
than
like,
it is
I have
selling
to-
out,
I have
right?
no
It's just like
chance.
I don't have a
There's,
choice.
Yeah.
there's nobody
I felt
who
bad
could
for
stop
him
him.
always.
Yeah, it's like
I
what
felt
am I
bad.
gonna do, dude?
I never saw him as a bad guy. It's just like you have been given the
Yeah.
worst stick of it, like ever.
But I wonder if, like, in George's imagination, it was like, yeah, they're like really scroungy and stuff. But now, like, it's that director and CG, of course. Like, you can make stuff look dirtier, and I don't know. It's really, I don't know. It's just fun to think about. But yeah, that moral gray area is really cool for the rebellion, and that's what Rogue One does really well. Is more than anything. I kind of, as a kid, you kind of take it lightly that Vader blows up a planet.
Yeah,
do.
Yeah, you
Like,
do.
you-
I didn't really. It's funny you were talking about this because whenever you're like he blew up planets and he committed genocide, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, did he? And then I remember the Death Star blowing up the planet. I was like,
Yeah, right in
Yeah.
front of Leia. Leia
yeah.
watches her
Yeah,
entire.
and I
planet
never
get
even thought
launched.
about that. I was like,
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And
As
I-
a kid, I always thought it was just like an asteroid. It's like, it's not a planet. It's an asteroid.
Yeah, you got him.
he's faking her out. It's cool.
But like that is the most devastating thing anybody.
It is a super fucked up move. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Dick move, pal.
and then they just reinforce it more so with like actual people in the prequels. It's like, yeah, let's go kill those sand people. God damn, dude.
Yeah.
yeah,
And-
really?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
But Rogue One, with basically like the home invasion scene when she's a kid, and
Yep.
dude, just the God, that general's white outfit
He's so
in the
sick.
in the
God,
dark,
just
going
so
through-
just
sick.
a dark gray charcoal
Oh.
whole planet, dude, and he's just in the field
Yep.
alone. Just
Yep.
as,
Yep.
They knew what they were doing with Rogue One.
Yeah.
Like
was
legit. They had a
gorgeous
plan,
movie.
and they were like, all the producers were like, "You got it."
I
Go
think I
for
saw
it."
that the Rogue One cinematographer did the cinematography for Batman.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Um,
Man, I
Do you think that episode 2 has gotten better with age? Sean and I talked about this not too long ago. I don't remember
Yeah.
if you were with us or not.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we talked about this the other day. I think episode 2 might have some of the best action.
Episode 2.
yeah, definitely
and
best action.
Yeah.
Episode 2 and Phantom Menace both set industry standards and just like wow, like CG, like fully CGI with IRL like actors. Jar Jar in the first one had never been seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the fully CGI fight scenes in Attack of the Clones, right? You see for the first time light have depth and volume in a Star Wars film. The lasers that are going around flying in Geonosis while the dust clouds, you can see the light in the dust clouds as they're
the glow.
flying.
Yeah.
Have you never seen that before in a Star Wars movie? So as a kid, you see that and you're like, oh my God, oh my God,
You'd
oh my
never
fucking
seen
God.
lightsabers get used like they do in
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. Mainly, it's just upward strike.
Right,
upward strike,
exactly.
side
And then
strike, side
and then
strike.
you have like you have acrobatics and
Yeah,
shit.
it's nuts.
Whoa, so this is what Jedi were like before.
Yeah.
It makes you think, wow, Luke is kind of behind the curve, man.
It makes sense though, because like, who's training Luke? You have an
Yeah.
old Yoda.
You have an
Like,
old- yeah.
That's all he has.
And I always thought like Vader's a machine. He moves
Yeah.
robotically, but he also moves effortlessly as well. He doesn't have to do flips because he's just like throwing my lightsaber at
Yep.
you loser.
That's why I liked Rogue One is because a lot of the expanded content is Vader is a machine. Vader is more of a beast than he actually is like anything else.
Yeah.
When he goes from like skillful lightsaber combat to he's angry.
Yeah.
And he's angry constantly. So he uses that motherfucker like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
So he is just straight up like not like cutting through everything. Just there's the edit of the fan edit of like the scene between the Obi-Wans and
The
Vader's fight scene.
remaster, basically.
I think that's the closest thing I've seen to like.
Have you
like,
seen that,
I
Grayson?
don't think I've seen
That's
that.
the closest thing I've seen to like expanded universe content and comics Vader brought to
Yeah.
like live action.
Basically, they do, the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope,
Yeah.
where Obi-Wan like yeets himself into the cosmic force, but they redo it like it would be like if Obi-Wan had showed up to stop him in the hallway in Rogue One,
Oh yeah.
and it's very much it's not flippy.
No.
It's lightsaber, force push, throw this at you, lightsaber.
Like
What
Obi-Wan
it
throws,
should be.
Obi-Wan throws like a fuel tank at him or an energy tank at him, and he just doesn't give a fuck. He busts right through it. He's on fire, and he's still swinging at him.
Well,
it's so sick.
It
Yeah,
should
we
be
gotta-
that
we gotta
way,
get you that.
especially-
We need to get a video of you.
Yeah.
We need to get a video of you reacting to that for the first time.
Especially after watching episode 3 and seeing how much hatred he has for Obi-Wan. It's like, oh yeah, it's his revenge.
Yeah.
He's been looking for
And
you.
he projects that onto like everybody he fights as well.
Yeah.
It's like,
I thought the
so sick.
I thought the lightsaber fights. I was really grateful for the fact that Force Awakens returned to that lightsaber claymore that Kylo has. Like
I love
that thing is scary.
lightsaber.
You fucking run. Like
Yeah.
that thing is gonna chop down the trees behind you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of weight. It was a good middle ground between
Mm-hmm.
the flippies because
Yeah, because it's like
they don't age that well.
They don't age super well,
No.
and it's also like, God damn it, man. It's like,
I mean, I
Ah.
will say, I still think that Maul and Obi-Wan ages pretty well.
It does.
I still think that looks so good, but it's,
They weren't good enough at CG.
Exactly.
They had to do
Yeah.
it with real actors.
and you know, it looks so good, and there's so much build up to it that like it doesn't have to be
Peter,
long.
what are you making that face for?
there's
Don't.
so much. So he hasn't watched Rebels yet. If you're watching this on
Oh,
YouTube,
okay, good. I was about
I know
and
what you're
you've
talking
watched
about, yeah.
Rebels, man,
I
they
was about to say, look,
yeah,
Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul is the greatest fight ever.
ever.
Yeah.
Well, you know why? Because they go from literally the behind the scenes production is like, yeah, in this season of Clone Wars, we have 2 fight scenes that are longer than all the fight scenes, lightsaber fight scenes in the movies. It's like, that shit gets so old so quick. Because you know what? First of all, nobody fucking dies, right? And it completely derails the story. It's just action and and stuff in your face that's happening.
You mean in the prequels or in the show?
In the show.
Okay.
And in the prequels. It just purely happens for the sake of it happening.
It's not a big deal for anybody to hit that button. When you hit that button, like, when a Jedi hits the button, it's risky business.
It
is legit. You could not be more right, because as soon as you turn on that thing, it is rigged business for everybody.
Means if a Jedi never wants to turn on that lightsaber.
I wouldn't either. That thing is dangerous.
So it's like that. Turning on the lightsaber means you failed as a Jedi. Basically.
Everything you've been trained to do, like talking, is out the window. I got to go to Plan B.
Yeah.
Maul and Obi-Wan though was like, it is crazy how quickly. And then I think this is the reason why Dave Filoni is basically the creative lead for Lucasfilms now, is because he did both of those shows. He has a great understanding of characters, and he also is just like a really good at understanding writing and pacing. And he takes these are kid shows, man. Clone Wars was a kid show. Rebels is a kid show, and he puts some very mature. Not like
he didn't. Like, let's be real. He didn't want to make a kid show. He wanted to make a Star Wars show.
He didn't want to make a show.
And so
he wanted to make something real.
Hey, square peg, round hole. Let's do it. I don't care.
When he started to lose his funding, they were told him, it's like, this is not going to get. You are not going to get re-upped, and so he was like, "Fuck it, clear the table. We're doing good. We're doing good shit."
Yeah.
So much to the point where the fans demanded that they bring it back, and they brought it back.
I think.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
I think what he was doing is he was like, I want to make a show for both the kids and the parents to get them both drug into
that, and also it's like he understood that as the viewer base, like me, was growing up, because it's like a lot of the people that were watching it, over the course of 7-8 seasons, if it's a kid show meant for 12-14-year-olds, they're in their 20s, man.
Yeah,
they're in their late teens. They want some more adult themes, right? And he gave it to them.
Which is great for you now. You're getting all the cool stuff.
They touch PTSD. They touch on corruption, being forced out of your family, being able to find things on you. There's so much stuff that he does. It's crazy.
So I've watched the Rebel. I watched the Clone Wars fight, I think, between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul.
I hadn't even seen that.
I know that happens. I don't know.
The last one?
Is that Rebels?
How long is it?
It's short.
Okay, then that's the Rebels one.
Okay.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that whenever he has spider legs or something?
Yeah, he takes his cloak off, and it's he's more. It's
it kind of has to be.
It's like at night at a campfire.
No, so that's the one in Rebels. He's talking about the one in Rebels. I'm not gonna.
Sorry to spoil it for you, Grayson.
No, it's fine.
I'm not gonna give you any details because you need to watch it. You need to understand how. It's a fucking kid show, man.
I know, but I watched it and I was like, I remember being like, I'm so excited that's how they did it.
Right. Yeah.
This is not about who's a better swordsman.
It's about the journey of these two characters, two very old sins against each other, right?
Yeah.
Very old pains, and they didn't draw it out, and they made it again. I'm not gonna say anything further. It was. I remember watching that and being like, "This is incredible."
They both went vengeance. Who's gonna get it? And here's your yes or no answer.
Then the one you're thinking about with the spider legs, that's
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a couple awesome fight scenes in Clone Wars and everything, but that one that you were talking about, Sean, kind of blew out everything in perspective.
I think it just kind of showed up in my YouTube feed one day, and I was like, I may not ever watch this show, but when I watched it, I was like, oh, is that what this show is like? It's not. It's like.
It has
it's
a really
thoughtful.
Bad start. It gets there.
I watched 2 episodes of it, and I was like, it's not for me.
Oh, it's so bad.
And I remember watching that, and I was like, this show means something,
there
because
points,
of that scene.
How long did it go on for? Is it just a one-season show?
No, it went for 5, 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it went for a
while. It's
a
lot of content.
Clone Wars is what, 10 seasons?
There's
a
couple. Yeah, no, 7. There's a couple ones where it's like, all right, listen, you can skip all these episodes, and then basically season 4 or 5-ish through on, watch everything, because this is basically where the point where Filoni was starting to slowly lose his funding and was like, fuck it, we're doing what I want, right? Yeah. We're putting out good Star Wars content, and it was just so good. I can give you a guide. There are far more moments. Rebel started out worse because Rebel was Disney was we're taking this shit back to a kid show.
Yeah.
We're taking this shit back to a kid show. We're not doing this anymore. And then they realize that's not what the people want. So the first like 4 seasons are unbearable.
Gotcha.
And then it gets to like character development, get rid of the colored hair, get rid of like the frills and like the long, like, get like,
We're back.
gouge out somebody's eyes.
Uh-huh.
Give some real character depth, give some stakes, give some real, and then it was amazing.
So Rebels is right before A New Hope, correct?
Correct.
So
Rebels
that would put
is,
it after,
is right before New Hope.
So that would put it after Rogue One.
Technically, the last episode is the ending of the last few minutes of the last episode is after Endor.
Oh wow!
It gives the backstory as to like where everyone was.
Yeah.
Also, you know how there's that one old guy on Endor in Return of the Jedi?
Uh-huh.
So there's this long-standing character from the Clone Wars, who's he's a clone. He's a clone of Jango Fett, right?
Uh-huh.
His name is Rex, and for the longest time, people are like, "Are you gonna make it so that this old guy, because they have accelerated aging, are you gonna make it so that this old guy at Endor is Rex?"
What old guy on Endor? I think
there's a guy with a white mustache.
On Endor.
He's a regular rebel soldier. He doesn't have that much screen time, but you remember him because he has a white mustache. And they said, "Is he the Rex?
Is he like one of the rebels?"
Is he Rex from the Clone Wars?" He's like, "Yeah."
That's
I was
awesome.
like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
I love Star Wars.
Yeah, I love Star Wars so much.
I do.
How long have we been going for?
We're going. We'll wrap it here in just a
Okay.
second. We'll keep it. We'll try a short episode for the sake of analytics. But
Okay.
all I want to ask is,
Yeah.
how dope is it that at the end of Rogue One they put on a tropical island?
Oh man,
That was so tough.
Sick.
I know that it's kind of ridiculous, but like Rogue One is awesome because it is just a straight up war.
Yeah.
It's a war movie, and that's
You
what
just-
makes it so.
Oh
That guy
my
is the cinematographer
God.
for Batman.
He is?
and Dune.
Oh wow!
So
the fight scenes, they get past the little like planet blockade thing, shield thing. Some of them don't make it. They just splat on the thing, and then you got airstrikes coming, and the guys are cheering on the. Oh my God, it's
when
amazing.
I don't think I've said "wow" out loud in a theater since.
Yeah,
Well, what came out first, John Wick 2 or Rogue One?
Rogue One.
Rogue One did.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
In John
sure.
Wick 2, when he shoves that shotgun into that guy on the ground,
Oh, and then
and then
like,
he
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
loads
he
the shell,
loads the
and
shell.
then shoots him. I was like, I said
God.
wow when that happened.
Yeah.
But before that, it was Rogue One
Yeah.
when they take that Imperial Star Cruiser and they
Yep.
and they crash it into the other one,
that was so sick.
and it's just that wide shot, that needle.
Yep.
That needle point going in, and I just
Incredible.
remember being like, wow, that's crazy. Chelsea, we watching Rogue One? You in here? Woo, there she is.
I still
But,
have my popcorn tin from Rogue One.
Oh, yeah?
I have my popcorn tin from Rogue One,
I need to get
and
more
I have
Star
my
Wars
cup
stuff.
too. Have I ever shown you those? I didn't show you those.
No,
I
I think you have. I was
I have-
when I was over.
I have
to
a
your place.
tin for that. I have a cup from Han Solo, and then a cup from Rogue One as well, and a tin from I think Episode 7 as well.
Do you like Solo?
Yeah, I like Solo.
It's a
I
fun
think that
Western.
I think it's a different movie from Star Wars, and so long as you always appreciate the fact that you take the movie separately as opposed to a connected thing, and then I've said this a million times. Is anyone ever going to capture Harrison Ford as Star Wars?
Nope.
No.
No.
However, and a lot of people disagree with me on this. At the end of the film, after he gives the kid the stuff, right? After he gives the kid, basically billions of dollars, roughly in credits, right? And he does like his little smile and smirk and says like, "Don't keep your breath up," right? Or something like that. He doesn't look like Han. He doesn't sound like Han. But the way that he's delivering the lines, the way he's holding himself,
feels
he
like
feels like Han.
He feels like Han.
And I was very shocked that somebody that's not Harrison could make me think in my head, he feels like Han.
It's tough because the actor is hired and trains to where he wins you over from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the only
Yeah.
way the movie works.
right.
But it's cool that like by the end of it, he does win you over as Han.
Yeah.
It should happen at the beginning. I think that's why people probably didn't like
Probably
it.
didn't like it, yeah.
But yeah, that train heist is so sick. Oh man,
There's
cool.
I think Han Solo is like the perfect 7. Like I really do. There's a couple of scenes in it where I'm like, oh, whatever. But there's a lot of stuff in it that I'm like, man, they did that right.
So
did it right.
next time we go on lunch, we're gonna have these videos queued up, and we're gonna show him the remastered hallway scene
Okay.
with Vader, and then I want to show y'all, and then like I want chat's opinion on it too. I want to show them that last clip I'm talking about in Solo, and have them tell me after watching it again. Doesn't he feel like Han? And if they don't, if they think that he doesn't feel like Han, I'll respect it.
Yeah.
I can't shake the fact that he pulled it off perfectly.
Does he do this?
On the? Yeah, he does. He does.
Hey, kid.
Man, don't keep your breath.
Do what?
Yeah.
Hey, what's he say?
He's like, don't catch your breath over something.
Don't catch your breath over something, kid.
Do you think if it was animated that it would be a little easier because it would look more like Harrison Ford? Do you think it would have done better?
If they would have mapped
Yeah.
someone?
Yeah. Do you
Like
think it would?
CGI?
No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like
Oh.
a completely animated film. Like it would be
Oh,
CGI,
oh,
but
yeah.
an animated film like all together. Do you think it would have done better
I
because it
think-
would have been an easier thing to swallow of him looking more like Harrison?
No, because I think that they would have lost. Well, yeah, probably on paper. I appreciate and I like Solo for what it is, and I'll give it an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8. I think it's good. I don't think there's any Star Wars movies I would give like. Well, actually, I would give Rise of Skywalker a pretty low score, just because the story beats don't make sense.
Yeah.
The basic continuation of things that happen in that movie just don't make sense.
Yeah.
Like
It doesn't make any sense, but it makes me feel things because of the music, because of the moment.
Horseback
Right.
riding,
Yeah.
fighting, and everything at the end of that movie is pretty dope.
and then it's like you can't. There's a couple moments like Ben pulling out the lightsaber
Yeah.
from behind his head.
I don't give a shit. Nobody like
Oh my
you're
God, it's so
lying
sick.
if that didn't make you as much as you hate it, as much as I don't like that movie. You're a liar.
You're
if that
a
didn't make
fucking
you,
liar if
yeah.
you're telling me you didn't feel goosebumps.
Yeah.
I think that movie will have the same effect that Episode 2 does. I think a lot of people, like in about
grow on
another
it.
5 to 10 years, will
Yeah,
be like,
grow on it. Yeah.
"Man, Rise of Skywalker pretty dope."
You know who's gonna like? If I was 10,
Mm-hmm.
I would not have a single issue with anything.
That's your return. Like if you're 10, that's your Return of the Jedi.
In anything in a new sequel trilogy. If I was 10 and growing up with that, I would be like, perfect.
Oh yeah, you're
I
having a
like
great
Rise
time.
of Skywalker.
Well, yeah,
the most.
we're late 20s
Yeah.
going into that, almost
That's
30.
That's always been my thing with, especially like the hate for the Last Jedi is like there's nothing that a fan base is going to be able to do to live up to 30 years of
No,
expectation.
it's gonna get
It's
it's
helpless,
gonna
right?
get hated.
Yeah.
What is your favorite and your least favorite Star Wars movie?
My least favorite is Rise of Skywalker.
Wow.
Purely because there are the moments where he's just like the horseback stuff. Ben with pulling out the lightsabers. Like,
Yeah.
you can't deny that shit is not incredible, right?
Yeah.
But it just comes down to I'm like, do you remember when they captured Chewbacca and they're transporting him away,
Uh-huh.
and how Kylo and Rey start doing tug of war on the transport ship, and then it blows up? It hard cuts to another scene. Kylo's only job throughout the entire film is to capture and get the girl Rey, right? So why the fuck is he just like, all right, cool, I guess I'll take a lunch break? It's not like there's a Deus Ex Machina where the planet splits apart like in the first film,
Yep.
and it's separating the two. He literally just doesn't get it. So it's shit like that where I'm like, it takes me, it's so jarring. It takes you out of the film because it's like, what the fuck? Why the fuck wouldn't, there's no explanation for why things didn't happen. You know what I mean? It's just like, Finn and Poe are like, Ray, we gotta go. And they're just looking at each other, and he's just looking at it. And then it hard cuts to another scene. I'm like,
What are you
what
doing?
the fuck? What?
Yeah.
What is going on?
I think like we'll do Kenobi talk whenever the show comes
Oh
out.
yeah,
But
like that's,
We're gonna have spoiler cast every
like,
week.
I'm
But
gonna
just-
tell you that that's a weekly thing.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
a weekly
not miss
thing.
an episode of Kenobi.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
But just to wrap this
I'll miss
episode,
one.
if you're still here, give me a comment on a scale of 1 to 10 of how amped you are for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and give me your best and worst Star Wars film
With reasons.
with reason,
With
not
reasoning.
a report, but with reason.
Hit
Yeah.
them with yours. What's your best and worst?
Oh, Jedi's my favorite.
Uh-huh.
Return of the Jedi. Last Jedi's the best looking one.
Okay.
Okay. But you're saying return.
But Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then my least favorite one is probably, I'm just going to go on what I would watch last.
Okay.
That's how I kind of gauge
Sure.
things, is watchability. I would always watch Jedi first.
Yeah.
I would probably watch A New Hope last.
No, I don't blame you. The acting,
Unwatchability.
Yeah.
the Mark Hamill's come a long way. Let's just
Yes.
say that.
It's just
Yes,
old
yes.
looking too.
Yeah.
It's just old.
Yeah.
My favorite is Empire, and
Empire.
without a doubt, my least favorite is A New Hope.
New Hope.
I honestly, I think it's a bad movie. Like, it's so
It got-
An
boring.
original movie.
It's original.
It
yeah.
was saved in the edit.
Oh well, it probably
bet.
was.
Lucas's first edit was fucking atrocious. They were gonna have the whole. Remember how he reunites with his friend in 4 before they go off to the Death Star?
Uh-huh.
It's like yeah, blah, blah. That guy was at the start of the film.
Yeah.
In the original cut, they were cutting. This motherfucker was gonna cut between a bunch of desert kids just hanging out and drinking, like doing like teenage kid stuff, right? And hanging out with each other, and the space battle up top. And then Steven Spielberg was like, "What the fuck are you doing? No, you can't cut between this shit. You just like it completely ruins the in capturing the audience in
Did
like
you-
the opening scenes."
Do you know about the Spielberg and Lucas bet?
What's that?
Steven Spielberg was
Yeah.
making Close Encounters at the same time
Yeah.
as George Lucas,
Yeah.
and they bet box office or residual earnings
Wow.
on whose
Wow.
film would do better. And Steven was like,
Wow.
Star Wars is going to crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Okay. Yeah.
And like Steven Spielberg, like I don't know if it's still a thing, but like he earned like a lifetime worth of revenue off of it. But let's wrap there.
Let's wrap, yeah.
No doubt we'll talk Star Wars again.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's-
with
oh,
PETA
yeah.
in the future.
It's
Love
gonna happen
Star
a
Wars.
lot.
Give me my camera back. You did good until the end. But make sure and leave those comments down below. Thank you for watching this episode. And come watch us on twitch.tv/hangtime for Star Wars Week. Should be a really fun time. We're probably live if you're watching this episode right now. Just come say, hey, I'm here from YouTube, and I'll make sure and give you a sub down in the chat below. So have a great day, and go check out last week's episode right here with Sam Mitchell, where we talk about Elden Ring just as passionately
And how much we loved it.
and hated it.
Yes.